Hey YouTube, MGTOW, my fellow brothers in the male rights activist community. This is Doberman Philosopher. The topic for today's video is going to be the biggest fallacy, one of the biggest fallacies that I believe that that's taught to us in Western civilization. And that is the notion that all people are created equally. This is demonstratively and categorically false, of course. To conflate actual equality with legal equality is a big mistake that a lot of people make, and I think that's what I'm going to talk about today. And of course, really, what I'm talking about is that men and women are not equal. Women are clearly inferior to men. Men are the dominant species, and all you have to do is take a look outside your office window, which I'm in my office right now, and you'll see that everything that you see that was built, everything that works, how you got to work, the roads, the lights, that was all created by men. Okay. Women are inherently emotional creatures. I hear a lot of men, a lot of fellow friends of mine, they'll ask me, I'm having a problem with my girlfriend, and I'm trying to reason with her, but she can't be reasoned with. I'm bringing up pertinent, valid, issues that she just will not see eye to eye on. And that's because you're trying to reason with something or someone that is beyond reason, that is unreasonable. So of course you will have this problem. This is why women make horrible leaders, and this is really why I think the biggest threat to Western civilization is feminism. The reason that it's a big threat is because academia now, I just believe I read a recent study that said over 60% of women, of students in law school are female. And women are becoming CEOs in corporations. They're becoming politicians. It's way out. I don't know the exact numbers, but the amount of women running for office is astronomically greater than it was 20 years ago. The amount of administrators and heads of university, deans of universities are increasingly becoming female, and we see this notion of equality being purported in society, and it's completely erroneous. This is a fallacy of the greatest degree, and I want to talk about that in further detail today. So, the thing that separates a man from every other species, and I'm including female humans in this as well, is the ability to feel emotion but disregard that due to the greater priority of reason. So it's to set aside emotion for reason and logic. What do I mean by that? What's an example of this? If somebody says something that I don't like, I may feel anger. But unless my life is in imminent danger or he threatens me, I'm not going to hit him in the face. That is what a child will do. That is what someone who simply does not have control of their emotions will do. What will a woman do if somebody calls her a name or says something nasty to her? She'll typically cry. She'll typically say something back. That's if she's a more forward woman. If she's a weaker woman, which most of them are, then she'll resort to trying to assassinate that other woman's character. Which is another difference in men and women. Men tend to be more direct. We deal with problems head to head, man to man, mano a mano. Women don't have that ability because they're weaker. They're more frail. They're more afraid of confrontation. So what they will do is they'll be more indirect and more subtle and really more underhanded about things. That's why in a relationship, a woman typically won't tell you, or that's what ghosting is really. So ghosting is an indication of somebody who has no character, someone who's a very weak person, and somebody who's very disrespectful and inconsiderate as well. A man will typically take a stand and tell you why he doesn't want to talk to you anymore, doesn't want to be friends with you anymore. A woman will just disappear. So the biggest example that I can really think of is when people are under pressure. When people are under pressure, you really never know who somebody is until they're under pressure. Anybody can masquerade as a strong leader, but you really don't know who they are until they're tested. Yeah, it's until great tribulation is upon them, and that's kind of the story of humanity, right? I mean, how did the Americans win World War II? When Germany was just defeating all of Europe. They were on the brink of total domination in that continent. It was people like George Patton, Douglas MacArthur, and men who, under great pressure, under great tribulation and turbulence, acted in the face of adversity and acted courageously, act with perspicacity and vigor, and defeated the Germans in World War II. And that's just one small historical example. So this notion that we have in our society now of, for instance, STEM fields that are trying to encourage more women to become engineers. I believe like 25 to 26% of all engineering students are female. Is ruining society. Just because somebody can doesn't mean they should. Just because a woman can do something doesn't mean she should be doing it. That doesn't mean it's really in her own best interest or in the interest of society. And one thing I will leave you guys with is that, and I'll talk about it in another video, is the notion that whenever you get something, you have to give something up to get that. Whether that's time, money, resources, or an opportunity. You have to give something to get something. That's always give and take is really a law of the universe. It's a law of reciprocity. So we're seeing now that because women feel they're equal, they don't have, the divorce rate is skyrocketed, right? The amount of single people in their late 20s and early 30s is increased. And it's interesting to me how, they want equality, but they're still unhappy, right? Western women tend to be extremely unhappy, even though they've attained a great amount of equality, politically, career-wise, academically, and socially. They've achieved the most amount of equality that's ever been known in civilization, and I would argue they're extremely unhappy, you know. And that's because they're playing role. They're participating in roles that are not designed for them. Again, just because someone can doesn't mean they should. They're participating in roles such as attorneys, such as CEOs, such as politicians, that they have no business doing. And again, piggybacking on my on the premise that you have to give something to get something. A lot of these career women are foregoing what really would make them happy, and that's being a mother, being a wife. Not saying she can't work, but really focusing more on raising a family, and being a loving wife and a loving mother, and working a job and where those traits are being more used than traits that are typically for a man. Now, and I don't want to get too much into that because that's for another video. But this notion of equality really is hurting society, and it's hurting. It's not only hurting men. I mean, it's obvious that it's hurting men. That I don't really think I need to make a video, especially for my audience. But really, the bigger argument here is it's really hurting women. It's hurting women in ways that they either they're not aware of, or they won't admit. In either or, it really doesn't matter. Right? It needs to be said that this fallacy, this mendacious statement that men and women are equal is absolutely erroneous. I mean, it is categorically and demonstrably false, like I said in the beginning of the video. But the consequences of such a fallacy are being manifested in our very eyes. And we see this, how academia, and I'm not totally blaming women for this. I mean, there's a lot of cucks, white knights and simps who are equally responsible, and they're in my opinion they're complete traitors to the global community of men, I'll call it. I even know not all men are male rights activists, even though I think we all should be. And I think that, but we do have a lot of traitors in our ranks, and that is any man who is a white knight, a cuck, or a simp is a traitor. Little faggots, basically, to just use layman terms for that. So, I wanted to make this video because I felt prompted to do so. I'm really going to try to make more videos, and not just about male rights activism, or MGTOW, or masculinism, or debunking the lies and the fallacies of the left, particularly feminist, which I believe is the most dangerous form of that. One of the most dangerous things that's destroying the society that men built. By the way, men built society, and as Coach Red Pill, who I greatly look up to and I hold in high esteem and reverence. I think he's a great man. I have nothing but respect. Very honorable man, very sagacious man as well. He is incredibly perspicacious in terms of his wisdom in women, in men, and his discernment is very, very, very impressive, and I'm very grateful to him for the videos he's made. But I feel like the consequences of certain beliefs have consequences, as Sam Harris says, the great Sam Harris, and these consequences are not yet they're in the process of being fully manifested, and we need to be prepared. We need to be strong. We need to be knowledgeable about what that is becoming, so that we can stand together as men and fight and defeat the left, to defeat the feminists, and defeat anybody who is purporting such lies as toxic masculinity, and saying that men and women are equal, or saying that all men are created equal, when that's clearly a lie too, which I'll get into in another video. But the general premise of this video is that the consequences of this idea that all people are created equally is going to destroy the very society that we've built. And although it is a flawed society, and even probably is a society I will be leaving in large part due to feminism and this conflation of equality, it needs to be understood why this is happening. So thank you, Coach Red Pill. Thank you all you men who subscribe and listen to my videos and are not submitting to the feminazis. And stay strong and be well, and I will make another video very, very soon. Thank you.